Welcome to the Dang Good Show. I'm your host, C. Dang from Vancouver of British Columbia in Canada. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 008. I'm here to spread self and social awareness because I believe it's key to positive change. It makes us more compassionate and thoughtful towards others, creating a ripple effect that's good and lasting. This show is about anything and everything related to creating positive connections with others and your surroundings, but most importantly, with yourself, to share life's adventures, advice, and experiences with a few laughs. I hope each episode will spark a chain of reaction to inspire you to live a dang good life. You can catch me on Instagram at Christine_Dang or my website c-dang.com. That's c-dang.com. Before I dive into today's leading episode, first I want to talk about Red Table Talk's latest episode called Confronting the Divide Between Black and Asian Americans. Such a powerful and much needed talk. I'm sure many of you are aware of the violent acts against Asians because of COVID-19. It's horrific, and my heart goes out to the families that were affected. I honestly can't imagine if it happens to my grandparents. Now, although on social media, the videos and stories that we see mostly are blacks attacking elderly Asians, but what the media doesn't reveal is that only 5% of all the attacks were actually done by black people. So the rest of it was mostly done by whites. So to my Asian people, do not judge the few situation thinking that blacks are against us. I urge you to widen your perspective and watch the show I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know what the heck Red Table Talk is, it's a show hosted by Jada Pinkett Smith, her daughter Willow, and her mother Adrienne. 3 generations of women who open their home for a series of candid conversations with family. You definitely got to check it out. I can't say enough about how powerful it is, and I really hope people will watch it more to understand the depth of the situation and the issues, and to learn to be more understanding and love more. Let me read what the blurb says about this episode. Not that you have a choice. It says, deeply rooted tensions between Black and Asian American communities have existed for years, yet are rarely discussed. What led to this friction and how do we stop it? Award-winning journalist Lisa Ling speaks to the negative impact of stereotypes and shares how her life has been affected by prejudice. Renowned scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson also comes on to the table to explain the origin of this complicated relationship. Plus, Gammy, who is Jada's mom, confronts some of her own beliefs about this cultural rift. I definitely will put a link down for you for this episode so you can watch it. And you can also learn more by visiting their Facebook page and website, redtabletalk.com. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the 4 worst habits people have that are toxic. Habits makes us who we are. Good habits could earn you honors and admirations, while bad habits could frankly earn you a bad reputation. Replacing bad habits with good ones not only helps you live a well-balanced life, but they also shape you to become better versions of yourself. Now, please note, the habits I'm going to talk about is something that we, me, you, and them, may have done without knowing in the past. If you were like me, you will reflect. Tip: do not be too judgmental and too critical of yourself. The most important thing is that you are aware of it. Awareness and expanding your perspective is key to being the best version of yourself. Let me repeat that. Expanding your perspective is key to being your best version of yourself. Okay, so that last quote was honestly from that episode's the Red Table Talk Instagram post. Anyways, so back to it. It's vital to be presently aware of yourself and others. One key thing to remember is to be kind to yourself once you recognize a bad habit you want to break. A mistake I've made in the past was being too hard on myself, thinking that I was a bad person to have bad habits in the beginning. That's just silly. Seriously. A better and positive way to overcome this is to be curious and encourage change. Also, the fact that I only acted with the knowledge I knew at the time. So that means that awareness holds a lot of power. The top of the list for the worst habits people have that are toxic is 1. Dominating conversations. You may know someone like this, or even be unaware of it yourself. Everyone wants to be heard and be included, but there's a difference between a conversation that's cooperative and competitive. People who dominate conversations are also known as conversational narcissists, who would always want the attention of others to themselves. At one point in a lot of people's lives, including myself in my younger days, we probably have shown some, if not all, of these 5 bad conversation habits. 1. Interrupting others. 2. Rambling and taking over someone else's conversation. 3. Talking over others. 4. Repeating the same ideas over and over in the same conversation. 5. Glancing at your phone and not paying attention. So, what's the solution? With our raised awareness, we become better listeners. We can fix dominating conversations in 4 ways. 1. Be open about your communication style. If you get excited, like me, let people know your burst of energy, or that you like facts and need a painted picture to understand. 2. Commit and listen to the conversation. You are probably saying, well, does he dang? Well, as simple as it sounds, make sure your eyes aren't wandering around, or leave the phone alone. Pay attention to the person you are talking to and not to the distractions around you. 3. Remember to pause. If you know you interrupt others, like me, form a new habit to pause after the person speaks. Pausing is a discipline that's important because not only will you let the other person finish talking about their thoughts, it also shows that you care. Remember to listen to understand and not to listen to respond. Carefully reflect on what they just said. Okay? Number 4, ask questions. Ask questions about what you heard and do not have a judgmental tone. You are asking because you are curious. Like, oh wow, that's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? These type of questions are useful because not only will you understand the person more, but you are also on the road to building a great relationship. Now, the second worst habit people have that's toxic is overthinking. There isn't anything in this world that can trouble you as much as your thoughts. Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button right now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. On Instagram, follow me at Christine_Dang, where I share aha moments and a few laughs. And lastly, if you want to find out more information about the show, visit thedangoodshow.com. Let's get back to the show. Most of the time, overthinking makes us sadder and drags you down in a downward spiral. Some might say that overthinking is a disease that comes with an anxiety disorder. So when we overthink, it clouds our judgment and raises our stress level at an all-time high. Studies have shown that too much time in this negative process and mindset makes us more prone to sickness and weakens our immune system. Luckily, we have 3 ways to conquer this toxic habit. Number 1, be aware. Once you are aware of your thought process, that awareness is the beginning of change. A change where you can step back to see what's happening, how you respond, and why you feel the way you do. Number 2, focus on what could go right rather than what could go wrong. Usually, overthinking is caused by fear. We put all of our focus on what could go wrong, and that sucks. By doing this, we numb ourselves from taking any action. Instead, try a more positive approach. Picture what could go right. Keep that thought and really feel it. Number 3, put a timer on it. Don't let yourself stress out for more than 5 minutes. Within this time, it's best to think, worry, and reflect. What has helped me is when I write down my thoughts and ask myself why. And if the worst did happen, how could I fix it? Writing it down not only helps eliminates the paralyzing fear, but it also gives me some confidence to move forward. Now, the third worst habit people have that's toxic is over-attachment with people. The number one rule is you gotta focus on yourself. When we are very attached to someone, it's the need to fill a void in our life and our self-esteem. To some people, they could feel sick being away from this person due to the fear of being lonely. Being attached to someone could mean many things, from emotional to physical affection and attention. Us humans are easily attached, whether it's to objects, events, and people, because we need to feel a sense of belonging. Keep this in mind. Attachment to people is where you become self-centered to fill in your own needs. Let me repeat that. Attachment to people is where you become self-centered to fill your own needs. How we can stop from being attached is by shifting your focus on yourself and learn the art of letting go. Be honest with yourself and learn to be alone by finding activities you can do, such as reading, or playing an instrument, or learning a language. There's a sense of power being comfortable in your own skin. You have to remember, you are responsible for your happiness, and it all starts with self-care and self-love, your mind, body, and spirit. There are 3 ways to help jumpstart this journey to put yourself first. Now, let me tell you, the first one is eating healthy. There are countless studies done that processed and sugary, salty foods not only weakens your body over time, but it also fogs up your mind. Eat more natural foods such as fruits and vegetables, and drink a ton of water. Your mind and body will thank you in the long run. So, spend a little more money on good, wholesome foods so you can spend less money on medical bills in the future. And the second one is exercise more. As little as 30 minutes of physical activity can improve your health and reduce the risk of developing many diseases such as diabetes type 2, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. Not only will regular exercise improve your quality of life, but it can also boost your confidence and lets your mind think clearer. Number 3, and my most favorite, meditation. Meditate. Your mind is equally as important as your body, if not more. If you followed me in the past year, I've spoke highly about meditation. I practice meditation every day since 2017, and no joke, it has changed my life. Many scientific studies have shown that mindfulness could change our brain and benefit not only our mental state, but also our physical body. If you're curious, I use the Headspace app, and it's pretty awesome for beginners. And I mean, like, really, really awesome. I'm gonna give you a few pointers, okay? Now, I have tried meditation before I actually started doing it every day. And for the life of me, I could never sit still for 5 minutes, let alone the 20 minutes I can do now, okay? So how it started was that I just started 3 minutes a day. That's it, 3 minutes a day, and I just want to see how I feel at the end of the week. That's it. And then by the end of the week, I was feeling so good. I was like, holy crap, that was only 1 week. Okay, let's see if I can do this for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I was like, what? I'm gonna do it for a month. And then 1 month turned to 3 months. 3 months turned to 6 months, and 6 months turned to 1 year, and 1 year turned to every day. So, yeah, dude, I cannot say enough how much more calmer I am now, how much more compassionate I feel for myself and others, and the patience I have for myself, and everything else as well. And I don't have anxiety attacks anymore, and I used to have it a lot. It was definitely the best decision I have ever made in my life, and it was the easiest thing to sit my butt down for 3 minutes a day. So start off with 3 minutes a day and then build up to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, however you want to meditate in the future. Now, here's another tip. Do it right in the morning, right when you wake up, so at least you know that you had the most important thing done before your day starts. And it's such a great way to start your day. Jeez, I have something in my throat. Again, I highly recommend the Headspace app. The Headspace app is awesome for beginners. I mean, I've been with them since 2017 and I'm still paying for the app and I still use it every day. That says a lot. You can definitely download it on your phone. It's an app and it's available on Android or iPhone, Apple Store. So take the time to put yourself first by taking care of your well-being. Now, the fourth worst habit people have that's toxic is procrastination. You'll never do it if you don't do it now. This is something that I fight all the time. Like, I fight with myself all the time. When the goal is too big, just the thought of the amount of work that needs to be put in usually turns a lot of people off. I face this all the time, as many people do. It's a challenge where we've struggled to avoid issues that matters to us. I find what helps me is when I make my task a little smaller, making it easier to manage and more achievable. You can start with these 3 steps. 1, write down what you need to do and break it down into smaller tasks. Number 2, ask yourself, if you don't do it now, what will happen and what good and bad will come out of it? Number 3, reward yourself for taking these actions. I spoke to a lot of people on this topic and a lot of people felt the same way and went through the same motion as me, which I guess it was a huge relief. Now, when I procrastinate, I feel guilty. That guilt eats me up and pushes me not to do what I need to do. And in return, I feel even worse because I put myself down. And how do I bounce back and feel a lot happier? By taking action. That's it. Take baby steps, take action, and reward yourself. Well, there you have it. Those are the 4 worst habits people have that are toxic. Dominating conversations, overthinking, over-attachment to people, and procrastinating. Be aware of your habits. Be kind to yourself if you recognize any toxic habits you may have. It takes a lot of strength to be real with yourself and replace bad habits with good ones. Now you know not only will good habits help you live a well-balanced life, but it will also shape you to become the best versions of yourselves. Thank you for joining me on The Dang Good Show. Make sure you visit my website, thedangoodshow.com, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple, Google, or Spotify, or wherever it is, just so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you find valuable information on the show, I would greatly appreciate it if you can give me a thumbs up and a good ratings on iTunes or whichever platform you're listening from. But even if you simply tell a friend about the show, that would totally help me out too. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm C Dang, signing out. I'll catch you next time.